Hey everybody, I'm Chef AJ and welcome to Healthy Living. Today I am going to be talking to Sandy Pukel, who was the creator and founder of the most amazing experience that you can ever hope for, which is the Holistic Holiday at Sea Cruise. And I'm going to let him tell you all about it and a little bit about himself and his story. So welcome, Sandy, and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure.
so we'll jump right in about the cruise because I have had the privilege, and I really do believe it is a privilege, of speaking there the last 3 years, along with the likes of the great Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Campbell and Dr. Barnard, and now you're having Dr. Greger. So what happened? You woke up one morning, scratching your head, you're working in a health food store, and think, you know what? I'm going to do a vegan cruise.
Actually, I've been doing seminars in hotels for about 30 years before that.
Oh, so you've had some experience in the hospitality business.
That's a good way to put it. I have no experience, but I've been doing it anyway. I decided I was going to teach classes in the early 70s, and I started in 1970s. That is, for those of you who are old enough to remember that. And I started doing it in hotels on Miami Beach.
Wow.
We used to do, first we started weekend programs, then we started the week-long programs. And then we did that for about 10 or 20 years. And then we did it in California, in Palm Springs. We did it in the mountains of Colorado. We did it in San Francisco. We took the show on the road. And then one day I said, I read about something on cruise ships that are doing these other programs with other kind of topics. I said, why not do it on a cruise ship? So I went to the cruise line and I said, I have an idea about doing it there. They looked at me like I was crazy because one of the most important things is the food.
Sure.
And I wanted to have the people go into the kitchen and cook. And they said they never had anybody. They don't allow people in the kitchen. I said, we can't have people in the kitchen. We can't do it.
Sure.
So we went out into the dining room. I'll never forget this. And you saw this elaborate display of all these goblets and crystals and silver. I said, we don't need all of that stuff. I said, you have too many spoons and forks and knives and goblets. And he said to me, it was a great lesson. He taught me a great lesson. He said, Sandy, you must at every meal have a soup, have an appetizer, have a salad, have an entree, have a dessert. And it's really a dessert, like lunch. He says, you must. He says, you represent the cruise line. So if you want to do it, you must.
Wow.
And people love it. So the first year on the cruise, we had more people than we ever had in 20 years of doing it in hotels.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was your first year doing this?
14 years ago, so it was 1984.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So when you were running this at the hotels, was it similar? Were you having or like what? I didn't know of you until the cruise. So what were your hotel programs like?
Similar, very similar, very similar.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate that over the years we've had a lot of who's who because everybody's been supportive of what I was doing, like sort of my life's mission. We've had the likes of Deepak Chopra 3 times. We've had Bernie Siegel, we've had Dr. Benjamin Spock, we've had the who's who of everybody into natural foods, and they came to support what I was doing, and it's been great.
So you're sort of like Don King when it comes to like vegan events. I mean, really, you're the who's who, and I'm so privileged that I was selected to be part of that. So the cruise has really grown, hasn't it? Because I mean, even the few years that I've done it, it just seems to get bigger every year.
Yeah, we started out at 420 and we've peaked at 1800, so it's not so shabby.
Right, but when you think about it, 14 years ago, 400 people for a vegan cruise, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. Yeah, we were thrilled to death. We were thrilled. And then afterwards the idea, one of the things I'm looking to do is turn the world on to, vegan eating and lifestyle. So I'm happy that what we have, but I'd like to see it every month. We should have like 1,000 people on every cruise. I mean, everybody else. I mean, you speak all the time.
But doesn't it take you all year basically to plan this?
Certainly does.
So how are you going to do it every month? You need 11 more of you.
Well, the best thing I have going on in my life. I'm very fortunate. I surround myself with very good people, like you. You have people. I like to consider, say, professionals. That people know how to do it. You give them the idea of the dream that you want to do, and then after that, you let them do it. I don't have to tell you how to do a cooking class. I'm very fortunate. I mean, right. You were on the cruise, and I remember you saying to me, when's the last time anybody, truly speaking, has had 400 people in a cooking class, or 300 or 400 people cooking? Never.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I produce small conferences with big names like Dr. McDougall, and the most I've ever had was 440 people, and yet that's how many come to my cooking class on the cruise while they're going to something else at the same time that has even more people. So that is absolutely impressive and amazing,
Yeah, no. So we're very fortunate like that.
Well, what strikes me so interesting about you, Sandy, is you just like cool as a cucumber, you know? I mean, you're a Scorpio, so I expected this fiery guy, but I remember like you're so laid back, like stuff is happening all around and you're like just you
Well,
stay calm.
the two things, again, I surround myself with very confident people. And also, I tell the story all the time because my mother used to say to me, I don't know how you do all this stuff with all these things going on, people calling you in the middle of the night and this and that. I said, Ma, I think the day they taught stress in school, I must have been absent.
Yeah. Well, that because I know that one of the things you have on the cruise, which is one of the most popular lectures, which I miss every year because you always put me up against it, is the recovery panel. And so tell us a little bit about that, because you've maybe had a healing experience yourself, but you certainly hear from these people their remarkable healing experiences, because the recovery panel is one of the most popular of all the events.
Well, I consider the recovery panel the heart and soul of the cruise. So it's really what the essence of the cruise, so to speak. It's about people who have embraced this lifestyle and have had either cancer or diabetes, heart condition, whatever, so many diseases. And because of them embracing and changing their lifestyle, they've recovered. So I encourage them to share their stories, and we record it. And the funny part is people say to me, Sandy, they say, I've been on the cruise, so many times already. You should have new people. I said, no, no, no. I don't want new people. I want you, because you've been here like 13 years to tell people you're still alive and well. And
Yeah,
you're still
absolutely, absolutely. What was the most remarkable story? Is there one where somebody literally came back from death's door?
We have, no, I'm not kidding you. There's probably 20 have come back from death's doors.
Wow, that's incredible.
I'm serious. It's like, matter of fact, people come out of there crying. They say, and they tell their family and they tell friends, and that's what it's about. You could do this. And I have people that send me thank you letters. I mean, we get incredible thank you letters that this is the most incredible week of their lives. It's changed their whole life. And, and that's what it's about, to encourage people to pass it on and share it with other people.
Well, what's really cool about the cruise is that it's like going to one of those medical conferences, but on a cruise ship, which means that because sometimes I go to a lot of conferences and I love them, but it's just the science. You get little breaks, you get, gourmet meals, you get port stops, there's all these fun things to do, so you can combine the entertainment with the education.
Well, we call it the love boat, because matter of fact, there's one father, his name, he says, Sandy, when I say my prayers at night, I thank you in my prayers because 2 of his daughters have met husbands on the cruise.
That's incredible. And Robert Cheek is now engaged to Karen, who we met on the cruise.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people.
If for no other reason, guys, go on the cruise. If I have a lot of vegan friends who's like, I can't meet anybody. Well, we just found out where. So this is where. So when is the next one? It's in March this year, right? Holistic Holidays.
March 11th, March 11th to 18th. Thank you.
And the website is holisticholidayatsea.com. Okay, cool. And do you have any openings left?
Yeah, we always have openings left.
We always have openings left. Yeah, we pretty much take over the ship, though, don't we? When we're there.
Yeah, we do. And it is, and that's what it's. We love it. Maybe the other cruise passengers, there are some other, or the cruise line itself. They say to me, Sandy, you're very demanding. You want this and you want that. And of course, and it's true. We are demanding because we want to make sure the food is the best quality. We want to make the service is best, because we're bringing food on the waiters. They don't know what tempeh is or seitan or this stuff and so on. Our clientele, our passengers, our participants in the program, they say, I need some more tempeh, and they look around. So we're teaching them also, and they always get around. So we do these pre-visits to the cruise. And, the vegan people. That's
well, you're bringing a lot of people to their ship, so they should be, thanking you.
Yeah, it's true.
People that might not otherwise go on a cruise.
I would say that most of the people in the early days, I'm not sure what the numbers are now, they've never been on a cruise before, and they say they've never gone on a cruise before because of the food, and the only reason they're going is because we've allowed to bring the food on board.
Yeah, great idea.
And cruise lines appreciate it because, and this is really funny, because we're based in Miami, Florida, and the cruise goes out of Miami, South Florida, and our number one state besides Florida is California. Now, think about it. There's plenty of other choices of people in California to go on cruise. They can go to Mexico, Hawaii, or Alaska. But we're bringing them here so it's a new audience for them, that they're first realizing the Caribbean is a nice place to go.
Oh, it's beautiful, especially that time of year. But I would sure love you to do a West Coast cruise, Sandy, at like Alaska or Hawaii. I would go in a heartbeat.
We're trying. And as I said, the biggest problem is the kitchen. We have to have a cruise line that's allowing us to go into the kitchen because they have their routine down, and we upset the apple cart. So we're trying. I think it might be, we talked about Alaska, and we've talked about the funny thing. We talked about Alaska. They want to limit us. They said, you can't take over the whole ship. It's too many people. I look at them like, are you kidding? And then, so maybe the Mexican Riviera is probably might happen.
Oh, that sounds a lot of fun. Yeah, I'd love for you to do one out here. So literally, it takes you the whole year to plan this cruise. I mean, that's your job, right?
Well, I have a few other things that I do. As I said, I'm surrounded by nice people, and confident people. They're more confident than I am. Right. I could think of ideas, and then I could step out of the way, even though I don't think I step out of the way.
What's your story to even adopting a plant-based diet in the first place? I mean, how did you get started in this?
A friend of mine this April is my 47th year, actually.
Oh, no, you beat me by 8 years.
That's okay. So a friend of mine who I knew from growing up, he was in college, and he was in college in Binghamton, New York. He told me about it. I went to a cooking class in Manhattan, and it resonated with me. I heard what the teacher had to say, and I said, and I cold turkey that night. Cold turkey, maybe that's not a good analogy.
Cold tofu, yeah.
But that night on, I just did it, and I didn't certainly know exactly what I was doing, but I certainly tried, and I've been doing it ever since, and I've raised 5 children this way. I have 6 grandchildren, and they might not be as strict as I am, but I gave them a good head start in life. You know what I mean? They certainly, it's funny because there's been many stories with the kids over the years when they went to school and where they used to bring for lunch, and everybody used to look at them. And I have stories where I have one story because I had a big natural food store in Coconut Grove, Florida, and this one woman came into the store one day and she said to me, "Are you Amber's dad?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "Well, Amber told my daughter," this is like she's 4 years old at the time, "that my daughter doesn't have to get sick if she follows what you have to say."
That's funny.
And we became friends with them. And I told her, because my daughter, didn't get sick, and her daughter's always getting colds and sick and whatever it is on it. And we became friends with the family. But so you never know who you're going to find and how it's going to lead to whatever it is on it.
Absolutely. And you never know who you're going to meet on the cruise. I mean, I remember that one year we met an Olympic gold medal winner, and
That's right.
and you let me bring him to the class, and who knows, that might have planted some seeds with him in his country to consider this.
Yeah, I had people call me, as I said, all the time. This woman after last year's cruise, she calls me up and she says, I came on the cruise, and one of the participants I came with, he's the owner of the family, is one of the NFL football teams. So I can get football players, I can get basketball players, who are vegan. I'm not mentioning because I don't know if they want me to mention their names and stuff on it, but the people are out there. I mean, we think what we have brought to the table is that this whole vegan lifestyle and the audience is far beyond it used to be. My sisters came on the cruise for the first time. They said they were surprised. They thought it would be people walking around with Birkenstocks and hippies. So we have shown that there's an audience out there. Yeah. We have brought in people. I just spoke to Colleen today from Veg News, and she said to me, "Sandy, you have a real audience. You have real people that are going there. It's not just young people. It's people that are all walks of life, lawyers, doctors. We offer CME programs on the cruise. So
that's
for doctors,
amazing. Yeah,
credit and CEU credit. So it's a whole different audience. We brought the package to everybody to make it available.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. You should be so proud of what you created, and it just keeps growing and growing, and it's just amazing.
Well, I'll be proud when everybody's doing it. So right now we have a lot of work to do, AJ. That's your part of also.
I'm on this coast doing my share. And, what's a real testament is that on the first day when you have that, in the big room, the auditorium, you're how many people have been at first time, second time? And how many people is this your 18th time? And, they raise their hand. They go back year after year.
Yeah, we have a I'm not saying, probably about 15 people. Maybe even 20, but I think about 15 who've been on all 14. They'll be on 14 cruises, which is pretty amazing. But we get probably over 1,000 new people every year, so it's great to turn on over 1,000 new people every year who are coming here. And as I said, the idea is to go back home and spread the word on it. And that, we don't know who, as we said, who is the audience, who they are, and who they're going to tell about it, and how it works, and that's how it's about. That's what it's about. Go spread the word on it.
You get really the who's who. Is there anybody that you haven't gotten that you just really wish would speak one time?
I've had a few people on the cruise, but some people, I hate to say it, even in our lovely vegan world here, some people think we're competition and they don't want to come because they think we're taking away from their programs. And I look
Oh,
like it's too bad they think that way, but that's
right.
where it's at.
Right. Well, I
Yeah,
sure wish you could get Dr. McDougall sometime. It's he hates to travel. That's the thing with him.
yeah.
He does not like to travel. Period.
We've asked them. So
Yeah.
if you can get them to come, then get them to come.
I'll keep asking him. Boy, that that you never know because this event that I've been doing at Marshall, Texas for 6 years, this little tiny town. This year he's coming. I think if you ask his son and his wife, maybe you ask the whole family, maybe he'll come. I know
What,
he does. I know he does do his own thing, but still,
yeah.
I'd love to see him on your
Well,
thing.
one of the things that we've done and incorporated in the last couple of years is because it's like a week or 10 days, whatever it is on it, the teachers don't have to come for the whole time. If they want to
Sure.
fly in for 1 or 2 days, that's fine with us.
Yeah.
So therefore, we're encouraging that because people say, Sandy, I'd love to support you and love to be part of you, but we have another life and other things going on. So that's fine. Just come for a couple of
Come
days.
for a couple of days. That's great. So, did it originally start out being mostly just sort of a macrobiotic cruise, and then it kind of just grew to be kind of more
It did.
plant-based?
It did, because I've been into macrobiotics for almost 47 years now. And, the philosophy behind it, and I'm not, listen, it's all good. I just look at it, macrobiotics encompass it all, whether ethical vegan, nutritional vegan, whatever it is. I think macrobiotics, because more and more lately we're attracting more ethical vegans. And they say, what's the difference between ethical vegans and people that are into it because of nutrition or people in this and that? And whatever the reason is, it's okay. I like to think that macrobiotics encompasses it all. So it's not putting one better than the other. So that's how it's always been. So the food has always been, the quality has always been the top quality. We don't skimp on anything. I mean, the best of the quality. And in certain publications in the beginning, we use macrobiotics as a word, but people don't know what it is. So we use vegan as a word, plant-based as a word. My philosophy is you got to get the people in the door. We know we have a good thing going. We know people will learn and people will have a great time once they get there. It's like, that you want to get the audience to listen because your message is a great message. But how do you get them to listen for the first time?
Right.
So that's our job, to get them. Even the food companies, like we deal with a lot of natural food companies, and we consider ourselves, we're on the front line bringing people into the natural food stores because we're turning them on to this way of life so they can see, then buy their products. And you've been on the ship, we have companies that donate.
Yeah.
Gifts.
Every night, every night you get like instead of
Yeah.
just having your bed turned down, every night you get like wonderful samples, like whole tubes of toothpaste, and it's wonderful. Just the swag you get.
That's right. So people love that. So,
Yeah.
and these companies, they're not stupid. They say, you know what, we're doing marketing, but this is the best marketing because people who go on the cruise, they're into that lifestyle.
Yep.
We have a good audience. So we tell that to the companies, we're helping you.
That's how I found
getting
out
the
about
product.
Earth Paste. It was a sample in my goodie bag, and then I bought it.
Well, that's right. And I hear that from a lot of people.
It does work like that. So again, tell us a little bit about because I know a little bit because I'm friends with Eric and Sinai, but what for macrobiotics for dummies, what is it exactly?
We're all dummies, but that's
Right.
why we're here. We're having a good time on it. It's just macro means great, bios means life. It's to live a great life. So the idea behind macrobiotics is to be healthy and happy. And if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So, and where it comes to be is that through food, which is probably the lowest common denominator that everybody in the world has to do. We all have to breathe. We all have to drink water after that. What else does every humankind have in common? And that's eating. So through food, you get to everybody. So through macrobiotics, it's just a balance. It's a balance in life, how to be happy in life, how to be healthy. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything, right?
Right.
If you're educated, you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So big deal. You can be the smartest guy in the world. And we know that because look at the people, whether it's Steve Jobs or these other people, and have cancer. Why couldn't they come to, when it's late, sometimes I kid around with people, but not kidding. People knock on the door when it's 11:30 at night on the midnight. They're saying that I'm going to die at 12 o'clock, and they call me up and they say, what could I do?
Yeah.
So we want to have people preventive. So what we're trying to do is to have education to help people how to change their lifestyle so they don't have to get sick.
Right.
And I don't like the excuses. People tell me I don't have the time. That's nonsense. You have the time to sit in the doctor's office for 3 hours and go to the hospital for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You have the time to take it now. It's called priorities in life.
Right. I mean, they have the time for dialysis, but not the time to,
That's right.
eat a salad. I get it. I see that a lot. They wait until it's almost too late, and in some cases too late before they want to change.
Yeah, so through macrobiotics, I don't think it's ever too late.
But I mean, is there, because I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I remember once I took a class and the whole thing was about if you cut the onion wrong, it's like, the world comes to an end. So, I mean, so there seemed to be, I'll be honest, like a little bit of craziness in the way this particular instructor was teaching it, whereas that like if you don't cut the onion this way, then there's no benefit to the onion,
Okay,
so,
yeah.
So,
obviously, I use, one of my favorite expressions in the world is better than. It's like everything else. If you chew 100 times, it's better than chewing 5 times or 10 times. So everything we do and everything we put into our body, our body is a temple, right? And we should treat our body like a temple. So if we put in the best fuel we can, like the highest high test, which is an onion or carrots or brown rice or salads, whatever it is, that's what we want. We want to put the best fuel in our body imaginable. And that's what we try to encourage. I had lunch with John Mackey, the CEO of Whole Foods, last week or 2 weeks ago, and we talked about so many people are getting into a vegan lifestyle now, and they're junk food vegans. They don't care what they're eating now because it's just that it's vegan. They don't care if it's Coca-Cola or fast foods or microwave foods. They just know that it's vegan. Well, they're going to get sick. I'm sorry, you're not going to survive on that. It's great that you want to adopt a plant-based lifestyle, but you have to do some kind of education, some kind of knowing what you're doing, and that's our job. We're out there to teach. It's education, and that's what I've been doing from the day one. I'd say if I got into in 1970, I was probably teaching cooking classes in Coconut Grove. A year later, even if it was 5 people or 10 people, so what? And I see people that I see now, 30, 40 years later, and they say to me, Sandy, I was at your cooking class and this and that, and that's what it's about.
I didn't realize you taught cooking classes, but I believe you did co-author a cookbook.
That's true, but I taught cooking classes. First person to give cooking class in this area, in the South Florida area.
Are you still doing that?
No. I have much better people like yourself who do a cooking class. Okay. I could just be behind the scenes doing it. But people call me up all the time and ask me for recipes or how did you do this? I go to potlucks and I make dishes, obviously, and I try to do stuff that no one else will cook because I know they're not going to do it.
All right. Do you cook your own meals for yourself?
Every day.
A lot of brown rice?
A lot of brown, and lunch. And David could tell you, because part of the deal when people at work, I cook lunch every day for whoever's here. People call up. They say, what time is lunch today? I mean, friends of mine, because they know I'm cooking lunch every day.
That's so great.
I cook vegetables. I cook pastas and grains and vegetables, whatever it strikes me. I don't have a menu plan. I just do whatever the mood I'm in.
Well, one of the things I learned, at least I think this is accurate from Eric and Sinai about macrobiotics, is you were one of the first types of people that really taught about how bad sugar is.
Yeah. I tell people the number one, I was at dinner last night with friends of mine, and he called me up and he said to me, Sandy, I need to have you come dinner with my girlfriend because she's into your lifestyle, and I'm not into that lifestyle, so maybe you can come encourage us. And we went there, and I said to him, the number one, as far as I'm concerned, the number one no food is dairy food. Yeah. To me, it's the worst food you could possibly have.
I agree.
And number 2 and 3 is meat and sugar. People think, sugar is terrible food.
I agree.
Yeah, but people think, because it's vegan, it's okay to have it. It's not okay to have it. It creates havoc on your body and stuff like that. So people sit there and say, well, it's vegan. I go, yeah, okay, right. So what? Yeah. So what? So even when we do the desserts on the ship, and you've had it, people are amazed. They say to me, there's no sugar in desserts. And people say, well, how could you do desserts without sugar? Obviously, you know that, and I know that. And people have to know that it's possible. So, and I tell people all the time, as creative as you are as a person, as a cook, if you're creative, you could do any of this plant-based stuff is better than I can because you just try it and you do it.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like almost a parallel universe when you're on the ship because we're doing everything so healthfully. You've got the miso soup for breakfast, but in order to get to the healthy vegan part, sometimes you have to walk past the less healthy, the rest of the ship, which I think is hilarious where you're walking to your classes and then, there's this deck where, the people from all the other countries, they're smoking and they're eating these huge piles of bacon and eggs. And, it's interesting because they look a heck of a lot different than the people in our group.
Of course. Yeah, for sure. And so we've expanded over the years. We've tried to widen out the diet. So we have say pancakes and we have French toast, and we have different tofu scrambles. So we're widening out because, as I said, we want to show people that it could be fun and nice to eat. We're not on the cruise to have a real strict diet. We're there to have like a party for the week. It really is. I mean, it should be a celebration of life. And that should probably be the name of the cruise, a celebration of life.
I like that. And yet if somebody is on a more strict diet, because maybe they're Dr. Esselson's patient, you'll accommodate them with the healing diet.
We have oil-free, we have gluten-free, we have a healing diet section. You know, some people do, some people don't. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. But one of the most important things besides the food is the camaraderie with other people. Yeah. And you learn so much and you get so much. I consider that one of the best things you can possibly put into your body is being with other people, that they give you some spiritual uplift, or call it whatever you want to do, whatever phases you, whatever you want to express it, is to be with other people and say, hey, you know what? You should try this. You know, you could work and you get encouragement. People go to your class and they say, she's fun, she's dynamic person, you know. So it's not like a vegan person where I had in my mind that somebody's sitting there, as I said earlier, with Birkenstocks, or nothing against Birkenstocks, I wore them many years and stuff like that. But we want to show that this is open to everybody.
Right. And, you know, if somebody wanted to, I mean, you have there's like probably 15 things going on at the same time. If somebody wanted to, they could be busy from 6 in the morning till 10 at night, because there's so many classes every day.
Every day. Yeah, we have 135 classes during the week, and we have 35 presenters, and and we have parties every night because it has to be fun. Yeah. We have like pizza parties, and people say, it's funny, even after we've been doing this all these years, people come over, is there really no cheese in the pizza?
That's so funny.
What do you think? We're advertising it as a vegan cruise, and all of a sudden we're going to put cheese in the pizza, or you know, so people, they can't believe that we do all these things. We have ice cream parties, and so the idea that we should be doing is to spread the word and show that it's accommodating for everybody, and this is not just a cruise, but I say in all walks of life, that you could be on a plant-based diet, you could be a strict vegan if you want, and you go anywhere and everywhere. You have to speak up for yourself. And I go to restaurants, and sometimes they don't have it on the menu, but if you speak up, the chef's ego, you got to get to the chef's ego. Of course, I could make anything you want. I can make a vegan meal for you, etc., like that. You know, I went last night. I met with these friends, and there was nothing per se. And the waitress came over and says, "This is vegan. This is vegan. We could accommodate this. We could do that," and they do it. Mm-hmm.
So I like that idea of the celebration of life. What made you decide to call it Holistic Holiday at Sea?
I don't know. We had different names over the years, and we started out, it was called Taste of Health, and we weren't sure how that was. You know, we wanted to try to get a wider audience on it, and I'm not sure how it came out, but somebody said, or maybe amongst us, we sat down and said, Holistic Holiday at Sea sounds great. And one of the things we thought about with the celebration of life is because of the recovery panel, that people should be celebrating life. They're there celebrating life. We're all, you know what, I kid around and I say, we're above ground, right? So we're celebrating life every day. You know? So we should be grateful every day we get up, and here we are, right?
Did you used to work at a health food store?
I owned one of the first natural food stores in the country.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that, because you have an unusual email that has nothing to do with your name, and I think that was the name of the store, or
it was the name of the store.
So
we had a store in Coconut Grove, Florida, and I don't know if people know Coconut Grove, but it's a pretty hip area. It's like a Greenwich Village, a Berkeley, or the hip areas of LA, whatever it is on it. And we started out in 1970, so it was we had barrels, everything was in bulk with barrels, definitely a hippie kind of place. But we got more and more people, so it became the place to go to as far as any alternative health. You came to the Oak Feed store. And we used to have all these people, so any athletes or show people, if they were in town, they came there. Michael Jackson was on tour. Michael Jackson came to the Oak Feed store to buy his stuff. Wow. If the football player, O.J. Simpson, was in town, he'd come into the Oak Feed store to buy his stuff. The basketball players, the football players, they all come in there, and they're all very, everybody's, it used to be the who's who of all people that were into any kind of natural foods. I wanted to find out about living a healthy lifestyle. They came to the store. So
was it a vegan health food store?
It wasn't vegan health food store, but we didn't carry no sugar, even then. So I was really, from day one, probably the only store, one of the few, I shouldn't say the only, but one of the few stores in the country we never carried sugar.
No.
And even that. So people say to me, well, it's the most popular candy bars, most popular this, and these other stores that would go buy in the other store.
Yeah, I applaud that you knew that way back then, because I fight this battle every day with regular people and vegan people about how deleterious all sugar is to our health. That book, I'm sure you read the book Sugar Blues that came out, I think, in the 50s by William Duff. You ever read?
He's been on the, he used to come to the seminars. He was married to Gloria Swanson.
Oh, you actually had him speak?
Of course.
Do you have... Sandy, I didn't know this. Do you have the tapes of this? I would love to see him speak.
I will. He was a great speaker, by the way, great storyteller.
Do you? Because I would buy that if you have his lectures. I had no idea.
You don't have to buy it. He was a great storyteller.
Because people, what I'm trying to say is, William Duffy, even before you made your change, he knew way back then.
Oh yeah, he wrote like Lady Sings the Blues. He was a great writer. And so he was great. Yeah, we've had, as I said, so we've had this connection with all these people even way back in the day at that time there that were very supportive of what we were doing. So it was great.
Because I find I don't want to say I fight, but so many people, have said, well, it's already so hard to be vegan if you take away sugar, but it's not hard. I mean, I have 40 dessert recipes and unprocessed without sugar. That's not hard. It's just that sugar is so addictive that people don't want us to take it away from them.
I know, of course. Yeah, they don't think it. Well, here's the analogy that I use, and this is the story, because I counsel people like one-on-one. I help people who are sick, and what I would say to them, if you don't have sugar, you eliminate sugar from your body, and all of a sudden they said, what's going to be sweet? So I said, you start eating, like, say, fruits and vegetables, and you don't realize that squash can be sweet. Compared to sugar, it's not sweet, but if you don't have sugar in your body, and all of a sudden you taste the squash, and think, wow, that was sweet. I didn't realize that. And then so more and more, as you eliminate the processed foods, you start to taste the sweetness in food, because every food has sugar in it. So we have to unlock the sugar by chewing and unlocking it, so we do it. So people then start, I kid around with people. I say, if you chew really well, you get the sweetness in brown rice. You can have a bowl of brown rice and it's sweet, right?
Sandy, I agree with you. I stopped eating sugar July 6, 2003. And now sometimes like a banana it's too sweet, or a sweet potato is too sweet. And I was a sugar addict for 43 years, but people don't want to give it the time for that to happen, because don't you think that when they stop eating sugar, they go through some kind of like a spiritual and physical and emotional kind of detox and withdrawal?
100% people go through a detox. I mean, I see that for a lot of things, and so what? That's okay. So you know what? And I also say, sometimes you go backwards, sometimes you go sideways. That's okay. There's no, we're all trying to reach nirvana, call it whatever you want. Everybody wants to be on the path of being happy and healthy, and whether wealthy, whatever your goal is. And sometimes you go sideways and backwards. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all a learning process, right?
Well, I like your attitude, because we have a different, we're wired differently, and I need to learn to be more like you. Because, what I'm seeing with the sugar is that, many of the vegan chefs and promoters of the vegan diet feel that, that the main thing is just not to eat animals, and that sugar's not that bad, especially if we use a little. But who's using a little? This is what I want to know. Who that eats sugar really, truly uses this so-called recommended amount of sugar? They don't seem to.
Oh. I get a little bit upset. I'm not upset, because I don't get upset now in true sense when these.
Right, because you missed school. The day that they taught stress, you missed school. I don't get upset. But so these natural foods companies being bought out by these conglomerates, and I'm concerned sometimes with the ingredients change. So here we had this product I've been eating for all these years, and now all of a sudden people say to me, Sandy, they added sugar to that because these companies take it over and they think it tastes better with sugar, and their audience wants the sugar. Well, sure, and it makes it more addictive, and then they'll keep buying it. That's so true what you say, because I live next door to Trader Joe's, and I don't eat salt, and they always had this delicious salt-free salsa. Then one day, I don't know what made me look, sugar. They started adding sugar.
Yeah. And matter of fact, I used to see on the planes in sugar, and the little salt shakers they used to give you on a plane, they have sugar in those little salt shakers.
Yeah, well, because they want you to keep coming back for more.
So, and it's the sad part is we have companies that want to give us products on the cruise, right? To give to passengers, like as gifts or food, and the major national companies, and we turn them down because they have sugar in it. They're like insulted, but we tell them that's our standards.
Well, I appreciate that you have that standard, because I have that standard, and a lot of people think I'm crazy and too restrictive and too strict, but I appreciate that about you.
Well, you tell them if they have a question, tell them you call up that guy over there in Florida. He's even worse than I am.
Well, you said you counsel people, so do you actually have a practice? Are you a whatever?
I am, whatever. I'm licensed. I was not licensed nutritional counselor in the state of Florida. I don't do it per se anymore. What I do is I don't turn anybody away. So if somebody, I used to do it much more, but even then I did. If somebody wanted to see, I encourage them to see anybody else because I have busy with other things. But if somebody says they can't afford it or whatever it is, I don't turn anybody away. So I'll help people all the time. Oh. And I was at Christmas dinner. I was invited to this woman's house on Key Biscayne, and she says to me, I can't do this, I have my blood pressure and blah, blah, blah. So I'll say to her, here's my card or whatever it is, give me a call, and I'm more than happy to help you, I always do that.
That's so nice of you. So do you have any healing stories of your own, or because you did this almost 50 years ago, you've just been sailing away in perfect health?
Mentally deranged.
Well, we already knew that, yeah.
That's how I got it. Yeah, we all have issues, right? And the interesting part about when we say detoxing and changing your life, everybody thinks it's just physical. It's not, obviously. It's mental also, spiritual, call it whatever you want. So whether you go through divorces or breakups with partners or things happening to kids happening to you, people think that's not all related. It's all related. If something happens to your child, where did the child, a product of you, Mm-hmm. So we have to take the responsibility of doing that. We're a product of our parents. Now we're here to now turn the next generation on, and that's our thing. So and then our kids, and then their kids, and then hopefully one day people won't have to worry about sickness and famine and wars. I mean, I look at it that, we're starting here with this whole thing. One of the things about macrobiotics is that it's not just the diet, it's a whole global picture. The theme really behind it is like one peaceful world, that we should all get along together. And through good food, I used to use the expression when I used to do writings, and I used to end it always with through good to one peaceful world or something like that, through good food, through however I used to express it. And I believe that. So I believe that if we start helping by changing people's attitudes, by what they put into themselves, their attitudes change on how they look at other people. I have friends of mine who I know that used to tell me they used to come to the foundation because I've started a bunch of nonprofit foundations, and hey, Sandy, I used to carry a gun with me, and now I've changed my lifestyle, and the gun's the furthest thing from my mind now. They're not violent like things. So that's what we have to try to do. So that's what it's about. That's what it's about. We say, we're starting out here. We individually. The key is that you change yourself individually, then you change your family, you change your relatives, you change your neighborhood, you change the city, the state, the world. That's what it's about.
If somebody wanted to know more about macrobiotics, and let's say they just couldn't get to the cruise this year, is there a resource you recommend for learning more about that?
If they call the cruise number, the information number, they'll turn them on, because it depends on where they live even, because a lot of people call us up because, you certainly could, Google the word macrobiotics. There'll be a lot of resources. We get people call up and they say, I live in Kansas City, or I live in Chicago. Is there anybody in our area teaching cooking classes? And we're a pretty good resource of that kind of thing.
Well, who started macrobiotics? That was Kushi?
No. Kushi's teacher was a gentleman named George Osawa. But actually, it's been around. They have, if you look up the word macrobiotics, it's been in Greek, as I said, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The term was used. So it's just that Michio Kushi popularized it in the United States, but before him, his teacher was George Osawa, Japanese man. He did it in France. It was very popular in France and in Japan. So he sort of wrote the first books. But other people have made it more modernized, so to speak, because sometimes it was very strict. And it was also, a lot of stuff was written before the culture of people doing drugs, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. They didn't go to doctors and have all these artificial drugs. They didn't start doing marijuana or LSD and stuff like that. So when you want to try to capture the audience now, some stuff that you talk about, you have to be, understand that the audience is not the same audience anymore. So you have to sort of adapt to it. So that's why it's an individual thing. That's why when people ask me, what should I eat? Generally you could tell people, eat plant-based, eat this and that. And what I tell people is if you eliminate the dairy, the sugar, and the meat that we talked about, you'll have a 50% improvement right away. Mm-hmm. Forget about what you're going to add to your diet to make you healthy. You'll get healthy, way healthy. I mean, forget 50%, probably 75% you'll improve your health by eliminating those three things.
Yeah. Wait. You said so dairy, meat, and sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, animal products as far
Right.
as the meat goes, chicken, anything like
All
that,
of
and
it.
sugar. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and forget even these make-believe sugars. And people tell me, oh, I'm eating brown sugar or
Ugh.
purple sugar. This and
Right.
that. I'm
That's the
sorry.
other thing. People think that because something is less bad, somehow it's good, and they say, "Well,
Yeah,
it's coconut sugar, it's brown sugar, it's
yeah,
agave, and
yeah,
it's sugar."
yeah. It's sugar. It's
Yeah.
sugar. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. And so it's not gonna, doesn't happen overnight. And it's, as I said, it's okay. And you know what? I saw somebody came here for counseling about 2 weeks ago, and I probably hadn't seen him in 10 or 15 years. And he said to me, Sandy, I'm having problems with this and that, with bowel movements and this and that. So, and I said, what have you been eating and stuff like that? And you adapt things, and so it changes, and his wife is, strict, and you don't know who you're going to meet and how it ends up and everything like that.
I have to commend you because you're somewhat of a pioneer because you are the first person to do a vegan cruise, and a lot of people are doing them now. And I think you sort of set the stage and opened the gates for people to do these.
Well, when I first had the natural food store in 1970, people used to say to me, what happens when, aren't you worried about the competition? I said, I hope the day happens where every supermarket carries the products that we're carrying now. I'll find what to do. I'm not worried about me, my livelihood, or anything like that. I want every supermarket to be carrying, plant-based products, and that's great. I'll find whether I do education this, I'll do something else. That's not a problem. Yeah. So when people tell me, I used to do these projects in Coconut Grove. We called it, excuse me, Taste of Health. We used to do festivals in the park. There was a Taste of Chicago, Taste of New York, Taste of San Francisco. Well, I started the first one like that of all natural foods. And we had 20,000 people who would come for the afternoon, and all the tables were natural food stuff. And we used to get all these companies from all over the United States, these major national companies who donate stuff to us and have tables and booths set up there to turn people on to natural foods. We started those in the 80s. We did that. And somebody called me up and said, Sandy, can you help me? I want to do that in Detroit. I want to do that in this other city. And I used to help them, tell them about it. So that's okay. There's room for everybody lots and lots of stuff to go on.
I like your attitude, and that's a really, some people don't have that. So I appreciate that. And you really were an early adopter,
Yeah, well, it made sense to me. I resonated with it very quickly and very easily.
Yeah, wow. That's so cool. So what would you tell people to just stop eating meat? Just
try it. I tell people to try it. Even, what? Even, people say to me, I can't eat I say their diet. I say, and say you can have a piece of fish, you can have a piece of meat. Have brown rice with the piece of fish and meat instead of something else, or have quinoa with the piece of fish or whatever it is on, and then try some vegetables. It's funny because people don't, their definition of vegetables is lettuce and tomatoes.
Right.
That's it. They don't know that there's other vegetables in the world.
Yeah.
I had when my kids were growing up, we'd have the kids come over, friends of the kids would come over for dinner, and one day, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, 100 stories, but one day one of the kids says, what is this? It was like broccoli. It was the stems. They never saw that because their mother only bought the frozen flowerets in the store. They didn't know that the broccoli came on a stem or something like that. So people don't know. And they've never seen it. They don't know where it grows from. They don't know where it came from. They just know like frozen thing, whatever it is on. So, and it's so the vegetables, people don't know how many different, when we order the food for the cruise, the vegetable produce companies, they love us because the cruise orders lots of vegetables. They got, lettuce and tomatoes, but we order more vegetables that week. They sell more vegetables than any week of the whole year because it's all vegetables.
Yeah.
And people experience different kind of vegetables, which people don't know about.
Sure. So
that's what we want to try to do, is just to do that. And I used to kid around with my kids. I used to sometimes we'd go out for dinner, and my kids, they have friends, and they say there's 3 or 4 kids and me, and the kids would look over the menu, and they want to order this or this. And my kids used to turn and say, listen, my dad's not paying for it if you order any of that stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, so if you don't order what he considers acceptable, he's not paying.
That's good. I kind of do the opposite. When I go to conferences that are not plant-based, I'll say to people, if you order a vegan lunch, I'll pay for it.
Okay, well, same thing,
Yeah,
right? That's
that's good.
great.
I like that. I'm not. You shouldn't have to pay for somebody else's poison.
Yeah, why do I want to do that for? I'm not going to encourage that.
Of
I'm not going
course.
to do.
Well, good for you for sticking to your guns. Well, I've met your lovely sister on the cruise. Have you taken your kids and your grandkids yet?
Yeah, this year all the grandkids are coming, and three of my kids will be coming, and all the grandkids.
That's great. That'll be a real
Yeah, and
family
my
affair.
sisters, and one sister, my who you met on the cruise, my kid sister Sherry, she comes she's missed the first year. Besides that, and she's my go-to person when I want to, she gives me good feedback. She knows I'm willing to take anything she throws to me. And then my other two, I have two older sisters. They came a couple of years ago, and cousins have come, and aunts and uncles have come over the years. And they're all, they say they're all proud of me. That's great. Boo, boo, do. I don't care that they're proud of me. I want them to go back and do something.
Yeah, you
with
want
it.
them to clean up their diet if they haven't
There
done
you
so
go.
already, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want them to say they're getting sick or they're 50 pounds overweight, and how come I'm 50 pounds overweight, But so what? You know what I say? Even if they don't adopt it that day, it's in the back of their consciousness. So they know when they came on the cruise or they came to a consultation or they came to your cooking class, they might not do it today. But they'll say, you know what, I remember Chef AJ, she said this thing about sugar a couple of years ago. And one day it'll resonate with them. They'll say, you know what, I remember I heard that once before.
Yeah.
And you hear it enough times, and that's okay.
Well, what's so cool about what you've done to the ship is like you have a bookstore. I mean, like you've turned like this one beautiful area by that sparkling staircase into a place where you can meet and get a juice or a smoothie. But there's like an actual bookstore there of all the kind of materials.
Oh yeah, we sell a lot. We probably sell more books during that week than most bookstores sell. I mean, it's incredible. More than that, actually.
Incredible. And the other thing about the cruise that's so great is that people, not every speaker does this, but a large proportion do. People can actually get consultations. So if they see a speaker that they really like and want more information, they can do like one-on-ones with these people, which, if they don't live near you, you probably couldn't do in person. So that's a really, really kind of cool thing that you created.
Yeah, we also encourage, more than encourage, and you're a perfect example of that we only invite teachers, or we tell them we want them to eat in the dining room. They're not sitting in their ivory tower somewhere. If they're not willing to be sociable with the guests and be like a human being and interact with people, we don't want them.
Right.
We want people that are going to be real people and talk to people. So if people come over to them and ask them questions, they're not hiding somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sure is fun. And, the cruise just itself is fun. And then you've got your educational part and all the fun that you've added. I think it's people say, should I go? And it's like, well, yeah, it's like an ideal vacation for somebody that either wants to be plant-based, that already is plant-based. And like you say, I think it's the community that's so special. It's like for instance, the Borchert family comes almost every year. I knew them in 2000 and we lost touch. And because of the cruise, we reunited. And, now they're part of my life again. They came for Thanksgiving dinner, the kids. And, if I hadn't gone on the cruise, I wouldn't have reconnected with them.
I say, Walter and Denise, they're like family, right? Yeah. When we reconnect, it's like having family again. The kids and stuff like that, it's wonderful. People, I was in a story the other day. People told me that, somebody told me that a girl came on the cruise and she met these other kids. She was not vegan at all. And this was like a teenager. And she hung around with these other kids, and they said she wanted to go again the next year. And the rest of the family, they weren't necessarily. Anne said, if you stay vegan for the year, I'll take you on the cruise next year. And she did it.
That's fantastic.
So these are like teenagers we're talking about now, which is great.
You had mentioned when you're here, your family, if that slogan wasn't already taken by the Olive Garden, that could be the slogan of the cruise. When you're here, your family.
Of course. And I got to tell you something funny when you said about where should you go? We have, if you're going to go on vacation and you're into this lifestyle, why wouldn't you want to go where you're going to meet other people?
Right.
And women, you lovely women, because you're the most beautiful and smarter than us guys here, the women are much more aggressive about it. They call up and they say, how many single men are they? What age are they? They ask those really serious questions about it.
That's hilarious. Well, if I was a single girl, I would go. I would go anyway. But you know what I'm saying. 1,800 cruisers. At least a third are probably male. You got a good shot. You got
a good shot. And in the first couple of years, we did speed dating. We try to figure out. And even now, we have singles tables. And we have singles parties the first night.
That's right.
And we did speed dating. We tried to do speed dating because we were trying to make it fun for everybody.
Well, you're single, right?
I'm single, right? I have a nice girlfriend in my life. I'm a single
Oh, so
guy.
you have a girl. Wait, you can't have a girlfriend and be single. What is this?
No, I have a girlfriend. Yeah, I'm not married, in
You're
other
not
words.
married. Okay, good. All right.
But on the cruise, though, I have 1,800 girlfriends.
Oh my God, I know.
I
That's
get the best job because I get to kiss everybody.
yeah. No, you're good. You are like you're very good at you're like Mr. Hospitality. You know.
Well, I want to make everybody feel at home, and that's what it's about. I mean, we want to make sure, and it's not just on the cruise. I do that everywhere in life. I run on the beach with my childhood friend, and we run like, so 2 mornings a week, we run on the beach and we swim in the ocean. And when we run along, we say hello to everybody. We say good morning to everybody. People, even if they don't say hello and they frown or whatever, so what? We say
Wow.
good
I love
morning.
your, you know, I love your attitude, and I've had sort of a rough week with something going on, and I wish I had talked to you sooner because
Call me up anytime.
it's contagious, your enthusiasm for life, and because like you say, that's just as important as the food.
I consider myself the most optimistic person around as
Wow.
far as life. And you could ask people that work with me. They all say, I leave them all the problems. I'm optimistic. I think everything can get done. And they say,
Wow.
you always promise everything, but so what?
Well,
That's
I'm
my job.
sure you're going to be healthier for the way your attitude is.
Yeah, hopefully. And hopefully, you know what? We just spread, as I said, we want to make it contagious, not just with that, but everything in life. We should be all happy and healthy,
So
right?
you're just like this. You don't do anything like meditation or exercise. You're just this Zen
I
person.
exercise every day.
Oh, good. What about
I,
meditation? Any of that?
No, but when I'm in the kitchen, I'm doing the dishes. That's a meditation.
Okay.
People hate to do the dishes. I don't mind doing the
Yeah.
dishes. I
Wow.
go in, seriously, it's a meditation to me. You do it. It's part of life. You do the dishes. It's okay.
Yeah, you have a great attitude. I never see you anywhere but the cruise. Do you go anywhere?
I travel anytime anybody invites me and go anything, I'm there.
Okay.
Oh, people ask me. I was in Seattle for a television show. I say, yeah, I say yes to everything.
Wow.
Call me up for the interviews. How I met my girlfriend is she was a friend of hers who I never met the woman. She never met the woman. The woman lives in Scotland. And she said, you got to interview Sandy Pukel for your online summit. And so she interviewed me, and that's how we met.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so you don't know. You don't know what's around the next corner,
Yeah.
who is going to be there, whatever it is on it.
I've been interviewing people for a couple years now, first just in an audio format, and this video format is new this year. And it just strikes me that everyone in this movement, everywhere, they're all doing something. It's like we're all planted in different parts of the United States or the world. And it's just amazing how everybody's doing something. Everybody's getting this message out in their own unique way. And your way is very unique. And I just want to commend you and thank you for creating that, not just to give speakers like myself an opportunity for a wonderful audience and vacation, but 1,800 people a year, you're reaching a lot of people, Sandy. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I help, and one other thing, I go to Europe once a year, and I help network with a group that we do in Europe to turn people on also. We have programs that we do in Europe to do different days and weekends. We go to different countries every year. We switch to a different country to try to spread the message.
Wow. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you or find out more about the cruise, what's the best way to do that?
Probably holisticholidaysea.com.
Right.
Or reach out to the universe and say, I want to get in touch with that guy, and it'll happen.
Okay, you're a delight. I'm sorry I won't be sailing with you this year, but I'm sure I'll be back, and I sure hope
You'll be back.
Do
We'll
something.
be back.
Do something on the West Coast, or I think Mexico would be amazing.
Yeah, but as I said, the second most people we have is from California.
That just
They know. Californians know.
right.
They know a good thing. They know a good thing when they see it, right?
Absolutely. I've met so many wonderful people on that cruise that I've been friends with, and people from all different walks of life, and like you say, ages. There's little bitty kids, and there's people in their 90s.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's true, and it's love and the little kids. That's the future, right?
Yeah.
We have the future. That's what's going on there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the work you do. And if you want to find out more about Sandy Pukel or the wonderful annual Holistic Holiday at Sea cruise, be sure to go to holisticholidayatsea.com. And thank you so much for your passion and what you're doing. And it was just a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing, because I love what you're the best out there, because you make it so people could see that it's fun
And
it's
delicious.
enjoyable,
Yeah.
and it's delicious. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Healthy Living. I'm Chef AJ, and I make healthy taste delicious.